Hello, everybody. We are here on a very special Coach's Corner for this beautiful Sunday, holiday Sunday for a lot of people in the U.S., but we're just celebrating life for everybody all over the world. So I'm always excited to do these with my amazing colleagues. This is going to be another impactful, powerful conversation, but most importantly, some value for each and every one of you as this applies to everyone as well. I can't think of anyone that this particular topic doesn't apply. Before I forget, make sure you feel free to comment. You can ask any type of questions, comment, let us know anything that resonates with you, and we're more than happy to talk about it and answer your questions. So, you ready, everybody? You ready?
We're ready.
Well, my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified Proctor Gallagher consultant, also known as a mindset success coach. And basically, my IG is Believe in the Unseen. I'm all about faith and believing in things that are meant for us and goals that we're meant to achieve, and basically belief in what you can't see. And I'm in the Maryland area. I'm actually out on travel right now for the holidays, and I'll pass it to my amazing colleague, Paul.
Oh, thank you very much, Jamel, and good morning. I'm also a PG consultant, and I help people reach their most elusive personal and professional goals and get comfortable with achieving their biggest dreams. Lou.
Oh, hi everyone. I am located on the East Coast of the United States, originally from Boston, now located in both Maine and Georgia. So I too am a success mindset mentor. And what I do is I work with women who really want to improve the quality of their life by helping them shift their limiting beliefs and their perspective so they can be, do, and have better. Alicia.
Thank you, Lou. My name is Alicia. I am originally from Panama and I live in Sweden. And I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside and not just looks good at the outside. And what it means is that whatever you do is aligned with what is more important to you, your values. So I am a values and mindset coach and also Proctor Gallagher certified coach. Mhm. Yes.
Awesome. So, what are we talking about today? This is extremely important. And this particular lesson really woke me up about what I do in my life. And I'm sure we all have something to share, the power of this material, because this is about understanding yourself even more and being very reflective and vulnerable, especially when you want to really increase your development and change your results. So we have a first question here to kind of kick things off. And remember, drop some comments. We want to talk with you and make this more interactive because we're here for you. So first question here, let's see. In what ways do our subconscious paradigms shape our daily decisions and actions? And how can becoming aware of these paradigms empower us to achieve our goals more effectively? Very deep question. Alicia, would you like to kind of approach that first?
Yeah. So if I start with the word paradigm because sometimes people don't understand what paradigm is, but paradigm are beliefs or habitual ways of thinking, and they act very invisible when we're operating in our system. It's like, the computer is something behind the computer that is running, even if we don't see that. So still they 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 affect us and control or actions and or or perspective of life. I normally say this is not how you see the world, and you have different things of how you see. I love using things. You can see the world very dark, or you can see the world as a lot of opportunity. You know, it's up to you. But our paradigm is always controlling how we see the world. And I believe that when you have, I talk a lot of values in value, for example, that when you have a beliefs that are limiting you, of course you can have beliefs that also are good for you, but we have a lot of beliefs that are very limiting, and when they are in conflict with our values, then sometimes it creates a lot of frustration. You can take, for example, creativity. So if you have a creativity as your value, but you have a belief that you are not good enough, or you want to stay safe, then it will be a conflict, and then you will not act as you want and create frustration. So I believe that those beliefs, we need to work on those beliefs so that they don't control us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always love how Bob explained it. He actually says paradigms two different ways. I noticed. It's a mental program that is fixed in our subconscious mind that has almost exclusive control of our habitual behavior, and most of our behavior is habitual, right? So that's one way, right? And I love how you're sharing this, because with awareness, understanding what a paradigm really is and what it does to every person, good or bad, with awareness, you're able to affect your decisions and your actions, right? Because a lot of times the paradigm is deciding these things for you without you even being consciously aware. It's like, you brush your teeth a certain way, right, with your dominant hand, and you're not even aware you do that your entire life, right? If you switch hands, it's something different and uncomfortable, but now you're aware that you've been doing it the same way before. That's just a simple, example.
Yeah.
Lou, did you want to kind of add on to that?
Well, yeah, first I just want to let people know. So each week will piggyback off of the previous week. And you're going to hear a lot of things that are repetitive. So you're going to be hearing a lot about our beliefs, our fixed ideas, our habits, doing things unconsciously, being consciously aware. So I just wanted to give you the heads up on that. So yes, so if we're talking about the mind, and when we understand that the mind is really the power plant, it's the creative tool, and our thoughts are the fuel for that power plant. So this is why we felt it was so important for us to get together and come on every week to help educate people, because this information literally transformed all of our lives, and actually millions of people's lives. So when we're not consciously aware of what we're doing, it's just habit. And 95% of our daily actions and our results are just coming from habit. We don't even realize, because our paradigms are controlling the way we think, our logic, our use of time, our self-image, our emotional reactions. That's always a biggie, because when you hear something that you may not like or you feel offended, how do you react? And that is just a learned habit. You learn that from childhood, because a child, I think I mentioned this last week, a child doesn't, it goes from one mood to another. It doesn't hold grudges, right? A baby doesn't hold grudges and say, well, you didn't give me the milk yesterday and I'm still angry with you. It's a learned habit. But the but we're not aware of these things. We just think this is the way things are. So when you understand the power of paradigms and really becoming consciously aware of what it is that you're doing every day, that's why we had you do those exercises last week. Become consciously aware of what you're actually doing and what you could do. Right now, you're making a conscious decision. What actions can I do to start to change my results? So being very conscious of our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors, and ultimately our results, because if you just look at the results, it will tell you what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how you're behaving. Paul?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to what Jamel said about brushing your teeth. Okay, have you ever tried brushing with your opposite hand? Like it's incredibly like difficult, right? You don't think anything about brushing your teeth with your dominant hand. Try switching hands, or try, tying your shoes up differently. There's more than one way to tie your shoes, but you just do it automatically without thinking. It's so difficult. Or writing with like Bob had us write with our non-dominant hand, right? He told us if you're right-handed, write with your left hand, and we had to write this paragraph for however 90 days or something like that. It was really difficult, but you know what? After about 90 days, I could start writing with my left hand. But in the beginning, it was so tough. So as everyone was saying, paradigms act as filters. And they act as filters through which we perceive the world. They influence our habits, our attitudes, and our automatic responses to situations. So a person who has a scarcity mindset, they could unconsciously avoid taking financial risks, even when the opportunities are promising. Or a paradigm will determine what we're capable of achieving. So someone who grew up hearing success is hard, they might unconsciously avoid pursuing ambitious goals because their fear, they have that self-doubt, their fear of failure in new endeavors, and they play it safe, right? They avoid bold decisions, and they stay in your comfort zone. And so it's as Alicia and Jamel said, becoming aware is so important, because you can, instead of saying, well, I can't do this, you have to sort of reverse your thinking and saying, well, how can I make this possible? And then taking intentional actions to help override those automatic responses. But it takes some time, just like it would take time to start brushing your teeth with your other hand or start tying your shoes up differently. It's going to take some time, but it took time to learn those things. Like Lou's talking about a baby. Well, a baby, it takes time to learn to walk. It takes time to learn to speak. It takes time. So it's going to take time. And most people, they're so ingrained with their habits that they don't want to move and change their habits and learn something new. But it is possible. And to become aware of what our paradigms are is so important. Jamel.
Yeah, that's great, Paul. And it reminds me when I was using my non-dominant hand, writing my affirmations down. I do that daily to be uncomfortable, but also have focus when I'm doing it. Because when you're using something you're not familiar with, you're very slow. Of course, it looks like chicken scratch. It looks crazy the first couple times, but you actually develop it even more. But be careful when you brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand. I ended up brushing my molar or whatever it is back there too hard. And my gum was sore for a week. So, side note there, be careful when you do that for those that want to try that.
I did also that. It was like doing very fast, of like, because I haven't controlled. I could not have the control that you have with the dominant hand.
Yes.
So, yeah. My brain works like, what? What is this?
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned a very special word there, control.
Yeah.
Right? Are you in control of yourself? And I'm going to hold some of our viewers accountable. Did you do the exercises, the last 2 Sundays, we provided some exercises you can partake in to apply this material, because when you don't take the action, usually that's your paradigm. What we're talking about here is holding you back from the forward momentum of what you're trying to achieve. So we do have some exercises today as well that we'll get into, but this ties all into the paradigm, right? Did anybody want to add on to that, or want to jump on another question?
I just wanted to, you were talking about writing with your non-dominant hand, and I had done that exercise for, I don't know, maybe 2 months or so. And the beauty of that is when you do start off, it's like hieroglyphics. It's like chicken scratch. It's like, and you're consciously like trying to make the R, and everything is, you're just putting so much. But the beauty of it is when you look at day 1 and day 30, you start to see the changes. You start to see that you're getting better, because that is something physical that you can see. So this is why repetition, because sometimes you don't actually see it, but it will, like Paul was saying, it takes time. But eventually you'll look back and say, oh my gosh, I used to do this. I remember when I did that. I remember when I used to react. I remember that. You don't really realize it as you're doing it, but it is the constant spaced repetition. It is so vital. And be here. And then Jamel mentioned about doing the activities. Now, whether you're going to do them or not, but here's the thing. When you just come on types of calls like this, or you're on YouTube, you're just gathering information. Just gathering information really isn't going to change paradigms. You're just gathering information, and we're going to get into that in the next coming weeks on why just gathering information doesn't make any changes. So I just wanted to piggyback on that, Jamel.
Yeah, I just want to add that, to remember that just because you buy a card for the gym, you will not get your muscle tons, but only because you have the card. You need to go to the gym and do the workout. So it's the same here. To get better muscles in our mind and our brain, so we need to do the job.
Exactly. I love this topic. I'm glad you brought that up, Lou, because, we like to read, right? We read a lot of material. You can buy whatever books that you want. And if you never read it and apply what you're reading in your daily life, you won't experience it. It's like food. Thanksgiving just passed. So you can tell somebody, I make the best turkey or whatever, right? I do all these wonderful things to it. Now you're gathering information through your sensory factor, right? You're hearing about it and you're visualizing, but you won't experience that meal or that food until you taste it, right? And that's the action that you have to take to experience food. You can smell it, smells great, but you might not like it, right? So, just gathering information is a kind of a beginning phase, but the body has to take the action. And we're going to get into habits in a second here, because that is essential to your growth and better results. Anybody want to add on to that?
You had mentioned reading books, and we probably would all agree at one point we would read a book. Maybe you'd read it twice, but I think I can speak for everyone here that we will read a book many times. How many times have we all read The Power of Awareness? How many times have we read Psycho-Cybernetics? How many times have we read Think and Grow Rich? And it's not because we forget what it says, but you need to internalize. You will read something over and over, and then you'll say, geez, I don't remember reading that part. The level of awareness is expanding every time you read that book. This is why repetition is so important. But most people will just read a book, they'll listen to something, say, oh yeah, that was terrific. Oh yeah, I read that. And they can give a brief outline, but they don't really comprehend what the author is trying to convey to them. The powerful information, but it's something that you need to do over and over and over, right? I'm sure all our books are highlighted, underlined, hearts, little notes on the side, because we are internalizing what the author is trying to convey to us. So we can now start to shift the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we start behaving, and ultimately our results.
Yeah, I love that, because the version of you who you are now took repetition.
Mm-hmm.
To reverse it takes the same repetition, so it depends on, everyone grows at different speeds, and it also depends how open you are to that reprogramming to the better, higher version of you, right? So important to understand that. So here's a deep one, what is one belief or habit you've carried for years that might be holding you back, and how might shifting your perspective on it open new doors for growth?
Well, I'll go with that one. So for many years, well, the majority of my life, I had a belief, and I don't even know if I really understood it until I got into this work, to be honest with you. It's just the way I was. It was just who I was. So until I got into this work, I realized I had a deep-rooted belief that I was not good enough. Everyone could do things better than I could. I could never do things the right way. And because of that belief, I can look back on my life and realize I would do something and then screw it up somehow. And then I'd get reprimanded, yelled at, why'd you do that? You know better. And I realized that because that belief was so deeply ingrained, the subconscious mind is always going to say yes to my beliefs. So it will always look for the people, the resources, the circumstances, the conditions to prove that belief true. So when I would do something, it was like self-sabotage, but I didn't even realize that. It was part of my programming, that it was necessary to self-sabotage whatever it is that I was doing, because that's the belief I had. But you see, I didn't know that for over 5 decades. I did not know that. I just thought, oh gosh, I screwed up. Oh my goodness gracious. And I never thought about it. I never delved into that. I never reevaluated my beliefs until I started to learn about me. Once I started to study me, once I started to learn and understand how this magnificent machine works, so to speak, the law of mind, how things go from a no thing into a something, and it's going through me, this power flows to and through me, and I understood that everyone operates this way. Well, that belief that I was not enough or good enough started to kind of dissolve, because I was now nourishing the belief that I am good enough, that I am so unique. There will never has been and never will be another me. And this is my very own journey for me to make the experiences that I want to live. It doesn't matter what anyone else is thinking about my experiences. Obviously, I'm not out to hurt anyone, but it is my journey. And when I really got clear on that and understood that, my whole perspective on me shifted. I do things because this is part of my journey, right? And the self-sabotage really just starts to fade away because I'm not nourishing it. It's dying, right? Because I'm not watering it. And I have a deep belief in what it is that I am capable of doing because I understand the creative process and the power of the mind. So, yeah, so having that belief that I was not enough in any area was a habitual belief. But again, I was not even aware of it until I started to understand myself.
Yes, that was beautiful, Lou, because everyone, I'm sure, watching this can relate to that.
Mhm.
Everybody. That's a big paradigm that a lot of people deal with their entire lives, and this is why mentorship is so important. Because we are developing ourselves, and a lot of times when you don't understand yourself, you're on your own trying to figure this out. So this is so good that we talk about this because I'm sure everybody can relate to this because that was one of mine as well. And I'm sure Paul and Alicia can relate as well. Alicia, you had something you wanted to share with that?
For me, it was also one of the deepest limiting beliefs that I had, that I wasn't good enough. And what happened to me that I created the perfectionist in me, that I need to prove that I'm worthy, that I am good enough, that all the time. And I don't know if you have a picture of your programmings or your paradigms, but I have. At my pictures are this, guys. They are sitting here all the time telling me how I'm not good enough. And sometimes they think that they say to me that, oh, I do this for you because I love you. But those guys are always having, and I work a lot all the time because we need to work all the time with ourselves. It's like a garden. If you don't put the work in the garden will be only weeds. So you need to work, because those guys are always sitting here and waiting the best moment to start talking to you, how you are not worthy, like how I'm not good enough. So I need to say, shut up, and then believe that I'm doing this. So the paradigm did that. I was always like, everything need to be for perfection, or I was saying yes to everybody just because I wanted they to like me and feel like I'm good enough. But that was like drinking poison and waiting for somebody else die. Is not good for yourself, or for me wasn't so good to that. So I, as a Lou said, when I started to ask myself who I am behind, as not this body, not this name that I got, who I am, what are my values, what I'm thinking, are my beliefs the things that get me up or take me down. So all these questions. So I am an advocate for reflection, that sit down and reflect and learn who you are, not your name or your body, but who are you? What is your philosophy of life? How do you see the world? It's like very dark, or you see a lot of opportunity all the time, or you see the world with a lot of love, like, you know so it's like you need to think who I am. So that helped me also.
Yeah, that's great. You should have your own TV show, Alicia, with your props.
I had this because I had a presentation on Friday where I used them.
Oh, okay. Great. I love it. I don't know what else you're hiding over there. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. This is
I
great.
always have a lot of things. I am a visual person. Oh, my beliefs is that I am a visual person, and I want to see things
Yeah.
So it's always I use in metaphor and songs because it's more easy for me to understand things.
Yeah.
I'm waiting
And-
for a rubber chicken to
Yeah.
yeah. That or a refrigerator, right? You're gonna wheel it over.
Yeah.
Paul, did you have anything to share with that question there? That's a pretty powerful one.
Well, I'd like to borrow some of those. I'd like to borrow some of those glasses of Alicia's, maybe. But definitely, I can relate to what Lou and Alicia said. But something more recently, like when I first got into this material, and it really, really resonated with me, and I was so happy to have this material and to help in my own personal growth. I really wanted to share it. I was looking forward to sharing it. But before I was going to go out and speak in front of groups or anything like that, I had this thing where, look, I have to learn more. I have to know it better. I have to know this material better. And I was constantly in this, I need to study more. I need to learn more before I present it. But it was really, like Bob said, you just got to get out and start doing it. And, I'll never have all the answers. And, none of us will ever have all the answers. But, to start, get out there. And that was going to help me grow, right? I was going to help me overcome any fears that I had or any doubts that I had or any mistakes. I was going to learn from them, right? And that's what we talked about. We talked about that last week. The fear of failure, that mistakes are a stepping stone to our success. So the more I got out there and started taking action, the more I learned about myself and the more I learned about the people I was helping. And just it was a real win-win situation. It was a win, for me, it was a win for them. I'm helping them. I'm seeing them grow, and I'm seeing them achieve things that they really wanted to go after and change their lives. And that was changing mine. That was helping me change mine. And that gave me, that momentum and that energy to really want to get out there and really, start sharing and giving this information to other people. And it really, really helped. And it's really is, like we spoke about, taking those actionable steps, just, consistent action, and which will help, and, give weight to those empowering beliefs rather than those disempowering beliefs, and get rid of those voices in our head that are saying, well, who are you to do this or who are you to do that? And to override those voices and saying, well, I am doing it. So yeah, just, it has to be, I was speaking to a group last week, and, knowledge is not power. We often hear knowledge is power. Well, knowledge is only potential power. It's only when we put, we apply the knowledge that it becomes power. So when we become aware of what we need to do, start applying that, that's when the changes start to happen.
Yeah,
Jamel.
You're right. Oh, sorry, there's a little delay there. Yeah, you're right, Paul. That reminds me of that quote: specialized knowledge appropriately applied is the power, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the knowledge that we obtain and that we help people with, and knowledge of self, right? I was thinking about that question with myself. Mine was action. That was a habit I had to shift, because I would get an idea or intuition would tell me, you should do this one thing, Jamel. Stop doing that and do it. And I would always put it off. I'll do it later in the day. I'll do it tomorrow. Well, as long as I can do it by Friday. So now what I have shifted is I'm doing this right now. I forgot where I got it from, but it's a pretty popular strategy or technique is to, if you don't do it within 5 minutes, you're not going to do it. So remember that, like, I'm doing it now. And as soon as I catch myself say, I'll do it after this. No, I just do it now. And another habit was a way of thinking that things will take a long time. That one I'm still shifting. I have affirmations where I say, this is happening now. Success loves speed. there's another one that I mentioned. It happens fast, and I'm in the present. I am now. So similar things like that, because it's actually connected with action, right? So if you think, oh, that'll happen next month, you're kind of disservicing yourself, right? That's your old paradigm, my old paradigm in that sense. So it's interesting when you start doing this, you really look at yourself and you're like, why was I thinking that for so long? Doing things the same old way that's not giving me the results that I want. Especially thinking, right? It always starts in your mind. So, but yeah, I love that. This is specialized knowledge.
I just wanted to jump on what you had said. Taking action now, if you don't do it within the 5 minutes, right? Because the power is in the now. I think I mentioned this last week. It's not in the past and it's not in the future. It's in that moment. And when you think about this, when you get that intuitive hit, that download, I think of it saying, I have, the power is saying to me, I've got the people and the resources and the opportunities lined up right now. This is why I sent you the inspiration right now to take action. You must do it now because the frequencies are lined up. If you go on and just say, do a live, a Facebook live, or you do a post, or you go and introduce yourself to somebody, everything is lined up right then and there. But if you do it, 20 minutes, a half an hour later, the next day, those frequencies have shifted. That's how I think about it now. So when you say now, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, everything's lined up now. That's why I just got this inspiration to do it right now.
Yes, good. Inspiration. I love it. All right. So here's a very, we're all getting vulnerable again for you. This is a two-part kind of, I'm going to rephrase it here. When was the time, or have you taken full responsibility for your life, your feelings, your personal growth, and for every result that you get? So have you, or when was that time? Anybody that wants to be vulnerable first, by all means.
Well, why don't you go, Jamel? You go first.
Okay. You go out there, the time when I was taking full responsibility was, doing this business. I was coming from a traditional background of basically, 9 to 5, clocking in and clocking out, traditional corporate America. And this type of business, you're becoming kind of like your own business. And, results always, the fruits of your labor always tell you your actions, what's happening internally, your commitment, your dedication. And I'll be honest, I wasn't happy with my initial results, when I started coaching. And I had to transition a lot internally. So, in order to change results, I had to change my inside, right? My mental state, what I was thinking. It was just a lot of old mental programming. And I'm so glad we're talking about paradigms and being vulnerable, because there was one time when I said, when I read that article, I think it's the responsibility or decision article. I'm not sure, but it woke me up. It really did. And it was like, you are the person that's responsible for everything that happens in your life. You're the only problem and you're the only solution.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll forever be, right? So you can try to hide from yourself, but I'm getting like Alicia. You can try to hide from yourself, but you know what you did that day. You know what you didn't do. And with this awareness, you also learn what you've been thinking, right? So the more you learn about yourself, I was like, I am responsible for the results in my life, monetarily, my feelings, my mental state, all of it. And when you take full responsibility that is when you own your power, you own yourself, and you can progressively move towards the worthy ideal, whatever that goal is for you, right? So I don't remember the date, but I remember the first time I read that, and it was a wake-up call for me. It really was, and I'm so grateful to have this, attract this type of material, you know, because you learn firsthand, like, what are you doing? Like, you know, what do you do with your time? You know, these are things to ask yourself, right? And what do you do with your income, right? The two things that define the roadmap to success, or what you truly value, is what you do with your time and what you do with your money. So if you went on Black Friday and bought a bunch of shoes and you already had a closet full of shoes, my wife is here. She likes shoes.
Me too. Me too.
But the point is, you know, what are you choosing? Whatever material things that you like, or your own personal development. That way you can afford anything you want. You don't have to wait for a Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I was thinking on that regard. So who else wants to be vulnerable with that one?
I can go. You know.
I'll go up. So,
Oh,
Okay. Are you Paul go, or I can go? I think that is a delay with Paul.
you can go, Alicia.
So I can go. So I decided to take 100% responsibility for my own happening, because before I was thinking that the day I get that thing, then I will be happy. The day that my partner do this, I will be happy. But it's putting my happening in somebody else's hands. And sometimes when I teach the 100% responsibility, people can get angry on me because they say, bah, I cannot take 100% responsibility for everything. No, just for your life, your results. Because sometimes we want to take responsibility for something that is outside us. And that creates frustration. So in my case, I was like, okay, what can I have 100% control over? So it's three things that we can have control over: is our thought, or or the pictures that we create in our imagination, and on our behavior. We have 100% responsibility, and we take control of that. But when we expect, and for me, this was so good when I started because of my relationship. I thought before that my happiness was in my boyfriend's hands. And what happened is that I was jealous all the time. And then when I met my partner that I have today, 20 plus year, I say, my life, my happiness is my hand, not everybody else. Not in the job I have, not in the house I have, not in the relationship I have, nothing. It is here. And it has been a journey to learn that. And when these guys come to say, oh, but I can say, okay, let's be a victim for 10 minutes. And then I can cry, I can be sad, and can be hate everybody. But this 10 minutes that I decided that, okay, I can be a victim, but then I choose myself when I want to do that. So about taking 100% responsibility is one of the best strategy. And even Jack Canfield called this the success principle number one that he teach is take 100% responsibility for your life. You don't need to blame anybody. You don't need to feel guilty for everything. Just take 100% responsibility for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know, for people that get upset about taking responsibility, you know, this is such a great topic. We can have a whole nother call just on this. You know, responsibility is the key to success. The buck stops here, right? And we've been conditioned, the paradigm has conditioned us to think things outside of ourselves dictates, you know, you're basically, if you blame something outside of you, you're putting more power outside of you than what you have internally.
Yeah.
So realize that you are responsible for your feelings. If you're unhappy, think better thoughts, right? Think things that made you happy. Be grateful. We do gratitude journals. You know, your vibration is essential, right? What are you sending out to the universe? And I was thinking as you're speaking, Alicia, you know, for people that get upset saying, oh, I can't do this because of my wife or because of my husband or because of my boyfriend or because of my girlfriend, you know, you don't understand that you are the key to everything that happens into your life. And taking responsibility, it's easy. You just say one day, hey, this is me. Nobody else's fault. This is my fault. And you grow from that. You know, the growth is tremendous when you finally accept that. Yeah, I'm sorry, Alicia, you struck a chord there.
No, I want to say something there because what I learned is that, okay, if I take 100% responsibility for my life, if I am the problem, I am also the solution. If I create this, if I allow this to happen, okay, I also are the solution of the things.
Perfect.
People put so much energy in an event instead of looking how I am responding to this event. And when you react for something that happened outside you, is you are losing your power. So it's like being a victim of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Inside out, not outside in.
Yeah.
Meaning don't allow the outside circumstances or whatever affect the inside. It's always inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul?
Well,
Is he back?
Yeah, too. I love what Alicia. I love what Alicia had said, and so often. So I've been, you know, a business owner. I've owned my own business for all my adult life, and so I always, you know, marched to the beat of my own drum, as it were. And so I learned, you know, a lot from that. And for one thing, you know, learned to say no, because I mean, yes, I was in control, but by the same time, there were circumstances or there were clients or difficult people or difficult situations that came up. And I would say, okay, well, it's that person is this way or that person reacted that way, and I can't do anything about it. Well, I can still determine how I'm going to respond. And that's where the power is, rather than allowing what you guys said, like allowing outside circumstances to dictate. I didn't have to do that. I had to learn to say, okay, no, I can still dictate the situation and how I'm going to approach this, and I can have a new approach. I can educate myself further. I can decide to take on this client or that client or not take that person on. And it was really, you know, a real self-awareness that I'm still in control. And as Alicia said, control of my thoughts and my feelings and my actions. And those are things that I'm really, really in control of, and not the outside circumstance. I can change that. I can make the change. So I have to make the change, not wait for someone else to make the change. But I think maybe the most impactful moment for me was when my daughter was born. And because I thought, okay, up to now, like I said, I called my own shots, and whatever decisions I made, they impacted me. They really, and really nobody else, not too many other people. But now I've got my daughter, I'm a single dad, and I've got my daughter here. So, I'm going to tell her that she can be and grow up and do anything she wants. So I have to be, because as a parent, you are your child's first and probably most important teacher. So I have to decide, okay, any decisions I make is going to impact the life of this person that I brought into the world. So that made me a lot more mindful of the decisions I was going to take and say, okay, I've got to take control of the situation. It's not about anybody else. It's not about what someone else did or didn't do. This is my responsibility, and I have to make and create, what type of home am I going to create? But it helped me want to grow. Like, seeing my daughter and trying to encourage her to grow, I said, okay, saying things and talking a good talk is one thing, but I have to be the example. And it just made me want to be my best version, to work on myself. And so I think that was the most influential moment, was to say, okay, you know what, I can, rather than just be, at this plateau or stagnant, I have to be more. I want to be more, do more. I want to bring out my best version. And having my daughter made me want to become my best version of myself. So that was the most impactful moment, I think, for me, was when my daughter came along, even though I've been a business owner all my life. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Paul, because there's so many parents out there that could relate. I can relate to that as well. So yeah, take responsibility. We take responsibility for our families, right? Why not for yourself as well? Right? Lou.
So everyone mentioned something, right, that we can all identify with. So Jamel, you had mentioned you're the only problem, the only solution. When I first heard that, I didn't like that. And I mention this many times when I do a master class. I'll take some responsibility, but all of it? Come on. So I'd never realized, and I didn't like the word victim, and I'm sure many of us don't, but I never realized what a good victim I was. And when Bob said you're the only problem, the only solution, again, that was a big pill to swallow. I would go 50%. Let's do 50%, right? Because I still have to blame my husband. At the time I was in real estate, I still have to blame the real estate market. There's no inventory, right? The clients are difficult. The interest rates are high. I had to blame people. I had to blame, oh, my kids made me do this, or this one made. So I was okay with 50%, but not 100%. And it wasn't until I started to really understand this that I was definitely giving away my power. And talking about a pity party, Alicia, you said, you can be a victim for whatever, 10 minutes. Something happened the other, whatever, week or so. And I really wanted to have a pity party. I really did. I wanted to cry. And the funny thing is, I got choked up. I shared this with Paul, but I couldn't cry. I could not cry because the paradigm, the victim wanted to, oh, cry, oh, poor you. But because my whole being now is understanding me, I knew this is just part of a process. How are you going to respond, Lou? Are you going to react, or are you going to respond? So as much as I wanted to go, my head was going, Lou, you just know. So have your little pity party for, whatever, 10 minutes, and then move on, right? Yeah. So being able to direct that power, whether you're going to react or respond, is totally within your power. You have that choice. You have that ability, and only you can make that decision. And I used to be really good at when I was in my real estate world, or actually any part of my life. Well, what would you do? I was always asking people, well, what would you do? It's like I couldn't think. What would you do? And they would tell me whatever they thought they would do. And if I acted upon that and for whatever reason it didn't work out, I would be angry at them. Well, I did what you told me. And I go, now, so talk about being vulnerable, Jamel. Now I just want to go like this. But I feel comfortable sharing it because I know I'm not alone. And because we all operate the same way. We come from different parts of the world, but when we take off our flesh suits, we're all the same underneath. So that's why I don't mind being vulnerable, because I know someone out there has experienced this. But yeah, take 100% responsibility. You may not be able to can't be responsible for what may be going on, but how you respond to it is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we either react or we respond, right?
Yeah.
And reacting is they're both based on your conscious awareness, right? Your level of awareness. So are you going to respond to something versus react? So powerful. So here's a really good one. Inherited paradigms, such as those shaped by culture, family, and society, influence our decision making. So what steps can an individual take to break free from paradigms that limit their potential?
I'll just go quickly. It's really just understanding yourself. The more you understand yourself, the better you understand yourself, and how, again, I call it this magnificent machine works, the better you can start to shape or reshape the story you were born into, because we were all born into a story. We were all born into other people's habits, beliefs, reactions, opinions, right? And we didn't have any say when we were children. We were just sponges because we were learning how to adapt to our environment. So if I was born in a jungle, or if I was born in a city, or if I was born in Alaska, I'm going to adapt and learn different things that I need to survive in those different environments, right? But if I want to choose how I want to live, I have to be able to evaluate my beliefs, my habits, my culture. Just because you believe something doesn't mean it's true. That was another big thing I learned. I was like, you're kidding me, right? But start developing what it is that you want. What do you want to believe? And you really have to be, your whole being has to be in alignment with, like, as Elisa says, your values, what it is that you truly want to live, because it is your birthright. Whatever it is that you desire, you deserve, because it is your birthright. I know we're kind of running out of time, but I'll pass.
No, it's okay. I know we have some awesome action steps for you to take, and those steps apply to this question. So this is a way that you can shift your paradigm. And this call, if you basically by this time you have more awareness of what a paradigm really is and how essentially it's been controlling your life and the results that you have. Alicia or Paul, did you have something to share with that last question?
Yeah, I can say that awareness, to as Lou say, to start knowing yourself more. One thing is that not to, sometimes it's, but this is my paradigm. That's it. This will not help you. It's more like thinking, okay, I know that I have a paradigm. I don't need to know from where it is that is coming from, but I know that this is a paradigm, but what do I want?
Mhm.
Because otherwise you will be digging and digging, and then you say, oh, maybe it's because of that, and then, no, maybe it's because of that. So instead of digging where this paradigm is coming, it's like, okay, I know that, and I'm going to do something. Here is a decision. You make a decision. I'm going to do something about that. And then start small. It's like, what can you start with what you have, your knowledge, your skills, your awareness, and start there. I normally say when you drive in a dark road, it's not like you see the whole road to home. You see only where the lights from the cars show you. And then you move and move and move. So it's the way, like start there, start small, and then, yeah, uh, continue.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Alicia, because first you become aware of what a paradigm is, and then you become aware of what your paradigm is, but don't put all your focus into and energy into what you don't want.
Yeah.
Focus on what you want and how to shift it. You're just overriding something that just didn't serve you most of your life. That's all you're doing. You're putting something over it to basically replace it. That's good for you. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah, because we can beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
Not sure where that's coming from, but Paul, do you want to share something there?
Yeah, I'll just, I, sure. I love the analogy that Alicia used about the, following your car headlights, right? So taking that consistent action, the daily steps that will reinforce the new empowering beliefs, right? And that just takes, consistent action. Um, Alicia mentioned earlier too about journaling. So take a little bit of time for some self-reflection. Journaling really helps because it can help to uncover reoccurring patterns have. And thirdly, getting feedback from trusted mentors. This is where mentorship comes in because mentors and coaches help you to identify the blind spots in your paradigms, like things that you're not seeing, that's your paradigm, and they'll help to unearth that and bring that to the surface. So those are really good. Those are really good things to consider, I believe. So I really loved what Alicia had said there. So, but yeah, consistent action. Getting feedback from mentors. This is where mentorship really comes in, and journaling. It really helpful for self-reflection and identifying those reoccurring patterns. Thank you, Jamel.
Oh, you're welcome. Awesome. So we have some exercises for everybody that watches the replay. For everyone that joined live, we really appreciate you, but this is all about you, not about us. We're here to help you with this material and also share our experience with it. Alicia, would you like to read through the exercise for everyone to kind of apply this material?
Oh, I didn't print
It's
it down. So sorry.
It's all right. You can put on your rose, your love.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Lou, would you do the honor?
I have them here. Okay, so first pause and reflect. Take a moment to think about just one area in your life where you feel stuck or not progressing as you'd like. But this really, I tell people, I tell my clients or suggest to go in a quiet room. Shut your phone off, maybe put on some soft music, invest the time in yourself. So do that, write out the one thing that you think is you're feeling stuck and you're not progressing as you'd like to. Number two, identify the paradigm and ask yourself what belief or habit might be contributing to this stuck feeling and write it down. Again, we don't want to go on like paradigm treasure hunts or paradigm hunts like but having an understanding of where they come from that they belong to you and that you're the only one that can make the shifts. Third, shift your thinking. Imagine the opposite of this belief. And for example, if your paradigm is saying, I am not good at public speaking, right? I think many people can identify with that. Replace it with, I have the ability to learn and improve my public speaking skills. Notice the difference in how you feel. The first one, you can feel resistance. The second part, when you do the opposite, is you're letting the resistance down. You'll be able to feel the difference. And then lastly, take one small action. We all agree on this. Choose one thing that you can do to challenge yourself on that old belief, and maybe practice public speaking or speaking in front of a mirror, or jot down a few points for a talk. Right? But doing it in the mirror can be very, very powerful. And the more you do it, the more you will start to see yourself starting to change. You'll be able to notice and hear your tonality, your confidence, right, increasing. But what do they say? Information without implementation is just pure entertainment. Apply, apply, apply.
Yes. Yes, I love it. And apply it today.
Apply
Right.
it. Apply it now.
Right.
I
Right
want to
after this.
I want to say something before that in this, when we start this type of work, it's very easy to start feeling guilty. So set your love glasses and
Look like Janis Joplin.
be more self-compassion, because otherwise it's very easy to say, oh, I should have been done this before. Be more compassionate to yourself, that this is like a language that you are learning. It's not that you are dumb because you don't know this language. This is a new language, and start to learn that, and you start to practice that, and you be better and better and better at that. And be aware how you are. I normally say three things. It's like, how are you spending or are you investing your time, your money, and your energy in what is important to you? It's totally different how you spend that and how you invest that. That was what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Alicia. That was awesome. And thanks for bringing those glasses again one last time.
And the devil guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll see them again. Well, who knows what we'll see next time.
They're
Right?
always here. They're always
Stay
here
tuned.
with me. Like,
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Alicia. It's basically self-love, right? We have to look at this as a reflection and not, harm ourselves with what we want to change. We want to focus on the better part of it, right? That we're creating for ourselves. And congratulate yourself for watching, for tuning in. For those that tuned in, live, and those that watch a replay, this is, I think, the third week. And it's been another awesome call with my amazing colleagues. And again, this is just a small part of talking about paradigms, small part of, focusing on the opposite side of it and creating a better version of you. This is just a little bit in 1 hour that's condensed. So imagine, the value that you receive. Imagine doing this on an ongoing basis. This changes who you are. It creates a better version of you, better results, more money, a better job, whatever you desire, So again, this is just a small part. Make sure you reach out to any of us. We all want to help you. So reach out to anybody that you resonate with and connect with. Our call links are in the description there. And we're looking forward to another great call next Sunday, right?
yeah.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Yep.
Bye.